Alright, so I decided to go ahead and copy some of my Super 8 films from the Peace Corps time, and I thought I'd share those with you. And this first film is just a tour I did around the village, shot on black and white, Super 8. Takes you from place to place. My friend Sabangale, the British VSO volunteer, was there. So there I am at the gate of the city, and my sign's there. It says, "Would you like a tour?" And this is the edge of the village. We'll walk this main road right through the village. And I think it's a Saturday, so you'll see more people on the village roads than you would normally see. Of course, there's no cars back then. This was 1996. But these are the kind of faces and people that you'd see on the path. Now, this is a woman who's actually standing up next to me. I would pass by her almost every day. And there's my office. You'll see a little bit more footage later inside my office. And this is the weekly bazaar, what they call the hot bazaar, where every Saturday the farmers market, farmers from around the community would come and bring their things for sale. And so you see people from different ethnic groups, and they lay out their plastic tarps or little blankets, and they sell everything that you would really need to get you through the week. There's some guys actually selling blankets. The women would weave them, of course. The men would bring them in and sell them. Of course, some folks curious about what I do. This is the Kumales, the potter clan that would make clay pots that people would buy for cooking and water and other things. Kind of warm weather then. Here's people selling chili peppers. You see people carrying their loads or their baskets on their heads. There's some chickens for sale. You see people looking at them either to breed or mostly to kill. Here's yogurt. I always bought yogurt from that woman. You'd buy it by the glass, and there's sugar, brown sugar that they would sell. And those lower level tents are all meat tents, and that's where they slaughter the animals in the morning and then sell the animals throughout the day. And the market would usually run like a U.S. farmers market from the morning until mid to late afternoon. And those are garlic they're selling, lasoon they call it. And you'd have to do a lot of bargaining. I enjoy the process. There's salt for sale. Rock salt, often very coarse grained. Potatoes, buying there by the kilo. And see, I think I bought potatoes from that guy. And then there's also, in the town bazaar, in the main part of the town in Kadbari, it's about 3,000 people, maybe 300 houses. And there's actually stores there. And that was a family that I would buy, dry goods from, matches and kerosene and cooking oil and soap and things like that. And this is the center of the town. And you can see that the tallest buildings, maybe 3 or 4 stories, they're all made out of mud and stone. And I would cook it for myself in the morning, but I'd often eat at the Hotel Arati, sort of my midday meal, and at home at night. So this is the little dining hall. And the hotels are really restaurants as well. And there's the kitchen of the hotel. And they're still cooking over wood on a clay stove. And there's the bathrooms. And there I am, reflected in the mirror where the bathrooms were. And this is my house. I just had the second floor there, really kind of the third floor. But one of the later tapes, you'll see more of what I'm doing here. Okay, this is film 2. This is a chance to see what it's like in the village and in Ben Chong, the place where I've been doing my 30-year research project. This is footage of some of the people I'm still working with today, even though this was 1996. Prakash Rai, one of my favorite people working there as an NGO member, and Bindra Rai, a resident of the village, and someone who's just been a great friend to me in Nepal all these years, and her family, her daughters. So I would often stay with them, and Prakash would stay there sometimes too. He was working for Eco Himal. This is the view from the place where I would stay at Bindra's. It's basically stay over a little barn that she had for some of her livestock. And that's the spot. And that's looking up the hill. You can see the terrain is very steep and very rocky. And this would have been during the winter months. This might have been 1995, actually. A lot of the fodder's been cut. So therefore, it's not very green, though you do see some flowers there. Bougainvillea. And a storm coming in. That's looking south, basically. And as we pan across here, it's looking towards Kadbari and that white spot. So there's Bindra's house. And there's me. Youthful and bleached blonde by the sun, at least, from being outside all the time. This is for milling rice in the village. They don't have any electricity or roads or engines of any kind, and so they have to mill their rice and husk it by hand with that kick tool there, and Prakash with one of the town dogs that they adopted named Denny. And here I am with Bindra and her daughter Mamata in a rice and bean field. That's an integrated crop. And then this is another village, actually. This is a Sherpa village called Chitre, higher up in the mountains, and really known for great potatoes. That's actually looking north towards Benchong. And here's the potatoes being planted. This is the primary farm tool. People do use ox and a plow, but they do a lot of that hoeing by hand, bent over with that short-handled hoe, and you just see how steep the terrain is. And I was here to learn about how they were doing the potatoes. Here's a monastery, small monastery that they have there. A woman drying corn and drying firewood there, using the sun on the, I think that'd be the south side of the house. And here's the view. That's looking west towards the Mount Everest region from where we were. And I just kind of do a 360 here above the village. A beautiful place, very remote, but in many ways more developed than Benchong, the Kulung Rai community that I was working in and continue to work in. Again, colder weather here. I built here and in Benchong, I built smokeless stoves to demonstrate that technology. And it was two of the Eco Himal workers, Prakash and one of his friends. And there I am again, and I think this one's about to run out. There's orchids on the forest floor. We actually made a chutney out of that orchids, and it was one of the best things I've eaten in my life. Who would have guessed that you could eat orchids? And here's the third film, which is a quick view of my house and the office and a little bit of the Peace Corps office in Kathmandu. Get going here. I transferred these in my basement bathroom in the dark. So here's the steps going down to the house, and again made out of stone and mud brick, and then also local wood. All the products were local, except for the nails. I'm sure the nails came from India. So I would go up these steps, and I had this beautiful porch with this terrific view looking east. I'd get this great sunrise every morning. And then always take your shoes off. My floor was mud, but they would smear it. There's my kitchen. They would smear the floor to seal it with manure and a little bit of rice husk, and it would work really well. That was the system I had for washing dishes. 3 baths of water, a little ladder up to a loft, no running water or anything, and so that's where I would shave and clean up every morning, just a bucket of water and a mirror. And had all my space decked out with pictures and photos from Peace Corps and from home, postcards that people sent me. I did have electricity. Probably worked 8 to 10 hours a day most days. There were weeks where it didn't work at all, but it wasn't too bad. That photo, that map on the wall was from my dad. You can see above my head the bamboo frame to hold the mud in. But my dad sent that map to me, and it was a source of endless interest from all the Nepali visitors and neighbors and folks that came by. And that's just the view from my bed. You could see my mosquito netting would hang over my head. And then I'd post all the photos that people would send me from home on my wall. And then on that side, they were all photos of friends from Peace Corps itself. Some of the gifts that villagers had given me, and there's bells and kukri knives and flowers. And, of course, I had my map of Nepal. That's Ganesh Gurung, someone I worked with a lot, Gyan Gale, who worked with a lot. This is inside my office at the district center. Some of the posters, educational posters that I made. That's my desk area, another map, and there's my desk and my locker, and Don Kumari Rai with her head covered there. Some of the people from Eco Himal, Shyam Joshi, he's now in the United States, who I worked with. I think that was Badri, I think was his name, guy I worked with, and that's the sign, Jila Krisi Bikas Karyalaya. And then this is in Kathmandu. This is the Peace Corps Library, a great resource for books. I read more books in Nepal each week and month than I've read, any other place. Of course, Kennedy, who proposed the idea for Peace Corps, and the Peace Corps office was a compound not far from the Royal Palace in the Lazenpat district. Really nice place. You could get a meal there. Of course, they had their vehicles. Those things weren't available to us for the most place. The canteen was. And this is the all-important mail room with Amod, who was the mail manager. and the phone where you would call home from. And this is about to run out, but that's it. That's a quick view. I thought I would include that with some of my photos and just share my memories of Nepal, which are very much tied to my time with you on tape.